Hi, everybody. I'm Robin, and these are my reflections. And today we're taking a look at Clueless Tarot Deck and Guidebook from Inside Editions. This one is Erica Davis and Lori Ann Paquette are the creators. And I'm looking forward to showing this one to you guys. If you have any of these Inside Edition decks, the book and the cardstock is pretty similar or very similar, or it's the same. It's the same to all of the newer decks that have been coming out. It's the thicker cardstock, not the thinner stock from the first decks that they released in those first couple of years. This is the cardstock that's been in the last few years. Same box with the ribbon, good solid box, great guidebook that tells you everything you need to know about the cards, very cute backs. So this is inspired by Clueless. I would say that this is one of those decks where it's not a pip deck, but it's pip-ish, you know? So there are some cards in here that are just objects, and then some cards that are scenic. Most of the cards I would say are scenic. So like, see, this Five of Cups is just the cups. There's no actual scene happening in there. Um, and this Seven of Cups is the same here. So I think that, but a lot of the cards have some kind of scene. Some of them are based on the movie. Some of them have been reimagined to look like a tarot card, like this Two of Swords. So it's a mix of the different techniques that people use to make pop culture decks. So before we get into these cards, and these are the backs if I didn't show them, I think I did. But before we get into the cards, let's take a look at the guidebook. So just like all of them, it has a very nice table of contents at the beginning. The understanding the deck in the introduction is just about the story. It tells you about Clueless, what the story of the movie is, what some of the themes are, and how those are going to transfer over into this deck. So it says, you notice in this deck the iconography ties to the movie through phones, technology for the wands, coffee cups, and a few other types of drinkware for the cups, pens and similar items for swords, and a variety of bags and handbags for pentacles. So that's how they tied it together. And the swords, I mean, the suits are the same as you would expect them to be for any RWS deck. For the majors, you get a full-size image with a little bit of a blurb about what's happening in the card, and then upright and reversed meanings. Like if you pull this card, then channel this energy. If you pull that card, if you pull it reversed, channel that energy. And then for the minors, you have a smaller thumbnail size image with just the upright and reversed. There's not that initial section that describes the image is not there, but it is embedded within the write-ups. So usually if you're curious about what's happening in a card or why that's there, you should be able to find it within there for most of the cards. Just a note, which I always forget to mention with Inside Edition decks, they always start with a king, and they work their way backwards until the ace. So king, queen, knight, page, and then ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it goes all to 10. And then the next one will start again, king, queen, knight, page, like that. So that's how the guidebooks work. It says tarot might not be magic, but there is something special about making your tarot practice your own. The closest thing tarot has to rules are the meanings behind each card. Other than that, there's no wrong way to read tarot. If you're brand new to it, the best thing you can do is just trust your gut, that gut of yours, and ask a friend how they do it. Caring for your deck, preparing to read, and then there are 3 spreads: the makeover spread, party in the veil, epiphany at the electronic fountain, and then you have about the author and about the illustrator. Erica Davis was also the author of the House of Dragon tarot deck and guidebook, and the Wizard of Oz tarot deck and guidebook. So if you have either of those, then you'll recognize her writing and her name. So that is the guidebook, and we'll read some of these as we go along. Let's get into the cards. So I'm just going to read from the guidebook for this first one so that you can get a feel for how it reads. It reads exactly as the narration in the movie with Cher, where she narrates everything like she's giving a debate, right? Like, or she's presenting in a debate. So it reads just like that. So it says, okay, so the fool, or in this case, fools. Cheryl Horowitz, Dion Davenport, and Ty Frazier are three friends starting their journey toward emotional maturity, but it's the self-actualization that so helps them find their inner humanitarians. Total bonus and a half. Upright. Project. Channel the boost of energy that comes from making a new friend into your own adventure. This is just the first step towards connecting with the best version of yourself. And with a friend or two by your side, there's no stopping you. Reversed. Growing pains come when you least expect them, but like the emotional ones are way worse. Cher and Dion learn too late that their vision for Ty doesn't actually align with Ty's vision for herself. Stay focused on your goals, but be flexible enough to change with them, and maybe you won't feel like such a bonehead. So that gives you a feel for kind of how the deck goes. What we're aligning are not necessarily the scenes in the movie. Sometimes you do. Sometimes there's a scene that goes along with it. But for the most part, we're aligning kind of the people and their journeys and their personalities with the cards. So we have our magician is Cher because, she makes things happen. The high priestess is the maid because she hears and sees everything, but she keeps everything to herself. So they made Dion and Murray the empress and emperor. I thought that was a good choice. At first, I thought it was a little strange, but the way that she explains it in the guidebook, when she really gets down to their personalities, he can be very articulate when he wants to be, and he is protective and he is demanding, right? And then she is very nurturing and caring and things like that. So I was just, sometimes I get caught up in my favorite scenes in my head, and I think, oh, they're not like that. But when you think about their whole character arc, they really do match. So Mr. Hall, of course, is the Hierophant. The lovers are Josh and Cher. Towards the end of the movie, of course, they're because that was the epic love story that kind of, you know, was the culmination of the whole thing, right? The chariot is Cher running things over in her car. Strength is the workout video that they were doing when they were just trying to tolerate each other. The hermit, of course, is Miss Geist. Wheel of Fortune is this fountain. I thought the write up for this was so cute because it brought the scene right back to my mind without putting the scene on the card. So it says, there you are, strolling along with a sad song playing in your head because everything feels inside out when bam, it hits you, an epiphany, like a fountain exploding in realization. You may not have gotten what you want, but you are totally about to get what you need. So accept what you're experiencing and go with the flow. So I thought that was great because it looks like a tarot card. It looks like the Wheel of Fortune, but the guidebook kind of brought the scene to mind that is the reason in this card, right? So it brought it together for me. Justice, of course, is Josh working on the case when he was working on the case. The Hanged Man is what's this boy's name? I forget. Hang on. It says in the book here, unexpected delays are of no consequences to the hanged man in your life. Take Travis, for example. He's like totally getting control of his life, getting clean, and staying true to what he loves. His outlook is fresh and otherworldly, especially mid invert. One of his favorite places to be. So I thought that was cute. This one was a great write up, too. It says, death is not what you think it is. Here, we're talking about transformation, not just shifts, lane changes, or pauses, but full stops and major turns. Like a speed bump or cyclist, failure or change can happen and will happen, and sometimes out of nowhere. How? It doesn't matter. Better just pull over because, as far as you're concerned, this card is the Messiah of the DMV. Very, very cute. So, I think that if you purchase a stack and you're looking at it thinking, I don't understand the choices on the cards, definitely take a look in the guidebook because there's a good explanation for each one. A lot of the ones that I was a little bit iffy about, I looked in the guidebook and I was like, yeah, that works. That works. Ty as the star, very cute. The hope before her makeover. The moon, of course, is Christian. Of course, is Christian. The sun is this is supposed to represent the moment when Cher took a ripe lemon to add to her father's tea, a loving gesture between father and daughter. I thought it was a little bit of a stretch, to be honest, but it does look like a sun card, um, and it goes within the look of the deck, so I can see how it blends with the deck. But to bring the story to mind, it didn't really work for me. This card. Judgment works, of course, whatever. There are so many things that I still say today that came from this movie. So many things. And things that maybe I don't say today, but I will pull them out of my hat. I may not say them all the time, like as if or whatever, but I do pull them out here and there. I do. He's a total Baldwin. The world. Okay, so now we're getting into the wands. We have the King of Wands. The Queen of Wands is Cher's masseuse, Fabian, and you can see that for the wands, we have a lot of electronics. So we have the camera here, you have the cell phones, another cell phone here. Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is not actually, I don't know who this is in this picture. I don't know who this is in this picture, but the Page of Wands is meant to be the pager itself, is what's representing the Page of Wands in this deck. And sometimes that can be a little confusing because you go back and forth between the objects and things like with the Sun card and then the people. So we're back and forth. Ace of Wands is this cell phone. And then the Two of Wands, you've got them meeting. They use these phones to make all the plans and all the talking and stuff. So we have the Four of Wands here, the Five of Wands. So from their outfits, I'm thinking that this is when they had their fight, the scene where they had their fight. The background of this is a little bit confusing because the scene in the movie looks different, but from their clothes, I believe this is the same scene. So the Six of Wands, Seven of Wands, as if. The Eight of Wands. This is that the famous scene, right? As if. So her defending herself from this boy that was trying to talk to her. The Eight of Wands. I need to go back and watch this movie again. I think this must be something that I'm forgetting in the movie, but it says in the guidebook, look, if your friend wants to grow a goatee, it's not your place to change their mind. The card is gentle. This card is a gentle but much needed reminder that you cannot control the choices that other people make. Contrary to your luck in matchmaking, most people will use free will to move through their lives. It's time to let them make those choices, even if they are tacky ones. So that's what it says. We got the Pismo Beach Relief volunteer sign up sheet for the Nine of Wands and the Ten of Wands. The cheerleader, the student, with all of her stuff that she's got going on there. All right, so now we're on to the cups. I'm not sure what it says in his hand. Ty Frazier. This is the guy who brought her to the class, or maybe the teacher that I don't introduced her. I don't know. But that's the King of Cups. So this is the Queen of Cups. That is the PE teacher. What was her name? Coach Stoger. The Knight of Cups. The Page of Cups. Ty pretending. It was a lot. That was a scene that I think is a lot of emotional immaturity going on in this card. Ace of Cups. All right, so now we're on to the Two of Cups. Very cute. At first, I was like, I wonder why they didn't put these two on the lovers card since they're on the Two of Cups, but I get it. I get it because we had to have Josh and Cher. The Three of Cups, of course, are the three ladies there. Four of Cups. The discarded cups. Five of Cups, we've got one spilled. Six of Cups. The guidebook talks about spontaneous playfulness. I'm not sure that this scene rings Six of Cups to me, but it's definitely it's definitely a scene of spontaneous playfulness that went a little awry. So here's the Seven of Cups, Eight of Cups, Nine of Cups. I thought that was really cute. The boys at the wedding. And then the Ten of Cups. This is her emotional fulfillment. It didn't have anything really to do with the boys, or the boys she thought she liked, or the boys she ended up liking in the end. It was all about her finding herself and finding what she felt good doing and the person that she felt good being. And we have our King of Swords, the Queen of Swords, the Knight of Swords. This is the other guy that worked for her father. He was whip smart and very sharp tongued. The Page of Swords, Ace of Swords, Two of Swords, Three. Here's the Four. When I first saw this, I was very confused because I was like, how is this balancing the thoughts, arresting the mind, or even controlling the mind, right? I'm like, how is that this? Because, or the words, um, because they're in a class, I'm hoping that their minds are, working and that they're engaging, right? But it's because you're the person that you're meant to be focusing on in this card. The energy is coming from you as the speaker to these people. So your words are controlled and in order. And so then they're a captive audience. So it says in the guidebook, your captive audience is no fluke, and you deserve to enjoy your time with them. You know this material upside down and inside out, so prepare yourself for rest and inner peace and enjoy your time with your friends. So I thought that that was interesting. An interesting way to portray it. It makes sense in the guidebook, but the picture on the card threw me off just because they're in a school. I feel like they could have, if we were going to see them enjoying their time quietly, maybe, doing something else. But I guess they do need to keep it within the movie. It just is a little clunky, this card, and quite a few of them, to be honest. So we have the Five of Swords here, Six of Swords, Seven, the Eight, test. It's a test. The Nine of Swords. ah, the 10. And then we're on to the last one, the Pentacles. Her dad, her mom, of course, is queen. The Knight is Cher picking out her clothes. That first scene we see her in. And then the Page is, I don't know what this is. Let me look. It says, Cher's furry backpack is quirky and cute just like her, which makes it genuine even though it's faux fur, right? So it stands to reason that valuing something makes it genuine to the person who is valuing it, regardless of what anyone else thinks. So who cares if it's not popular? They like their stuff and you like yours. This card appears when you need to recenter on your preferences and what you want. Not everyone is going to agree with your priorities. Big deal. This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity, not theirs. Yeah, I guess so. I think without the guidebook, okay, a young girl holding a purse definitely reads Page of Pentacles, right? But I think that, trying to connect it with the movie, I don't know. I feel like that one's clunky too. So we have the Ace of Pentacles, the purse, two purses, three purses on shelves. All right, so now we have the Four of Pentacles here. I love that we've changed to makeup cases here. I think that's very it fits the mood of the deck and the mood of the movie. So Page of Pentacles. I'm sorry, this is the Five of Pentacles. And it's meant to be where she fails her driver's test. Again, like the other one that I was saying, I could tell that by the clothes. It's very difficult to tell from the background or what the card looks like, but from the outfit. So if you know the outfits in the different scenes in the movie, you'll be able to follow that along, or of course use the guidebook. So we have the Six of Pentacles here. I think that this is perfect for the Six of Pentacles because they do have that back and forth relationship. She cares for him, um, make sure he eats, make sure he does all the things he's supposed to be doing for his health and whatnot. And he gives her a life advice, even though it seems like he's not really around because he's always busy. He will stop, and So this is the Seven of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles in her closet, and the Ten of Pentacles, of course, is her dad. And these are the backs again. No edging, and the cardstock is that satiny matte that they always use. That's the thickness. Up against a regular tarot card. They're standard tarot size, so that's them up against a normal tarot card. There it is up against a Blue Angel Oracle. And I'm just going to break them in half so that I could go ahead and get them mixed up here. Because riffle shuffling them at their full size is a little difficult for me because of my short little hands, my short little fingers. But if I do it like this, I can get them shuffled. Overhand is a little sticky, but it's brand new. This is my first time shuffling it. That will loosen up as you go along. They do soften and loosen, or my other decks in the past have as anyway. So let's read for the star. Okay, here we go. If you would like to read that for yourself. I'm not sure. I want to compare this to some of the other decks. I feel like the writing is smaller in this one, or maybe my eyes are just tired today. I'm having a hard time seeing this. So it says, as a symbol of self-confidence and personal renewal, Ty is the unquestioned star of this deck. I agree. Clarity, joy, and purpose emanate from this card and light the safest path to your goals. Upright. After healing from more than a few heartbreaks in both love and friendship, Ty has fresh eyes for her special guy, Travis. This card is a sign to start dreaming bigger, looking higher, and acting more intentionally in the direction of your dreams, no matter how goofy they might be. Reversed. Reverse the star is still a light for you in times of despair. We all lose track of our goals once in a while, but that usually happens to make space for something even better that you haven't even thought of yet. You are totally allowed to feel despair, especially if you're off track. But the star reversed means you can trust that it's going to be even better than you planned. All right, so that is the guidebook, and that is the Clueless Tarot. Let me know what you think about this. My thoughts, I feel like the overall look and the choices. Well, okay, so let me say this. I think that Erica Davis did a fantastic job of finding the little places where she could compare this movie to a tarot deck. Although I will say that this movie is a snapshot in a teenager's life. It's gonna be hard to find all of those little nuances that tarot offers because it's covering the gamut of life. And yeah, there were other characters, and she found the places where she could, but she had to take from objects or situations and things like that. And I think it was a little too much of that and less of the characterization and all of that that kind of confused me as I was going through the cards. Now, in practice, the cards look great on the table, as you can see, and I can absolutely read with the imagery because it's giving something, right? They're scenic, or if they're not scenic, like this one is giving something. We've got paper, we've got communication within this Three of Wands. We're moving if we're embarking on something, you can see that there's been planning in the background and all that kind of stuff. I can see that in this picture. And now we are getting started by making those phone calls, connecting with people, blah, 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 blah. This one is a little less so because you've got your phones, but then this background is not really, to me, adding to the card, because as you can see, they're just putting it in the world, and the same is happening here. I don't really see much from this background adding to the Six of Wands. So then you have cards like the Sun card, which the guidebook gives something to you to think about, her bringing something from the outside in to brighten someone's day. But then also, if you're thinking about making lemonade out of lemons, that kind of comes to mind when I see something like this. Caring, nurturing, warm things like the tea. So I could see things in those pips as well. So in practice, the deck works just fine. Um, like a lot of these pop culture decks, a lot of times there's there's going to be one or two cards, or maybe even 10 cards, where you have to stretch to really get the meaning. It's going to happen with these types of decks, especially with a movie like this. Although I will say Mean Girls was spot on. Like, they hooked that one up. But then again, Mean Girls was a different style of movie. Another thing that I don't know if I would have changed, because I really do love these borders. But I want to say is, and it probably means nothing because I love the borders, like I said, but I did want to say it. I want to mention it, is that it's giving Barbie. It's giving Barbie instead of Clueless to me. And I think that one of the things about Clueless that I love so much, is that it was the fashion, right? And I think that was a lot of us. And the thing that made the fashion so cool, and the style of the movie, overall, the props and everything so cool, was that there were these teenagers, these immature teenagers, that felt so mature because they were dressed so maturely, and because they had grown up things, and they were dressed like adults, and they were going to school in suits, and you know what I mean? And they had nice cars and designer clothes that needed to be dry cleaned. And just all of these things that felt so mature, but they were teenagers. I think that juxtaposition of those energies was something that made the movie really interesting. It was a very interesting part of the style of the movie. And this is, like I said, it's giving Barbie, it's giving Candy, it's giving Lisa Frank. It's very cute, definitely of the time, but it's not given that juxtaposition of maturity and immaturity, grown up things, and classy, the classy look with the immature style. So, like I said, I do think it's cute. I love the borders, but I it might have been a missed opportunity. I don't even know if it was. Like I said, I do like the borders. So, I mean, what else would the borders have been to make it more Clueless? Who knows? I'm not a graphic designer, but that was just something that was continuously coming up for me as I was working with the deck, so I wanted to mention it. You'll have to let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So I look forward to hearing from you all. If you pick this one up, if you're working with it, yay! Now that I've done the review, I can pull it back out and start working with it again, because sometimes I'll put things in order again. Once I work with it, I put it back in order, and then I let it sit until I review it, and then I try not to use it, because then it means I have to put it back in order again. So I'm excited to have it back out now. Definitely going to be using this at Valentine's Day with all this pink for sure. Thank you so much to Inside Editions for sending this one over. It's a joy to look at. It's very cute. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It's very helpful to me. Hyping the video also helps. Sharing it with your friends or anybody who you think might be interested in seeing a Clueless tarot deck. It's if they love Clueless, they're going to want to take a look at this one for sure. If you want to see more from me, you can subscribe. I release videos every few days regarding tarot and oracle, and I'd love to have you here with me. Like I said, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts, and links will be in the description box below. And until I see you guys next time, stay safe and be blessed. Bye-bye.